Welcome to Debbie's Back Porch. So glad to have you join us again tonight. I'm going to make a very special potato dish tonight. I'm going to make fondant potatoes. And there are many different ways that you can make them. If you're looking for a recipe, there'll be different cuts, prepared just a little bit different. But fondant basically means cooked in its own juice or cooked in juice. And so the thing that's universal to fondant potatoes is that you brown the potatoes and then you roast them in the oven in chicken broth. And I'm going to cut mine a little bit different. If you've looked at videos for fondant potatoes, many of them, or recipes, not just videos, many of them cut the little circles that almost look like a scallop. And you got to know that I'm not going to waste that much potato. So I'm going to do a different cut. And from my research, looks like it's probably a little bit more traditional cut because I'm not going to throw away half a potato. So let's get started and I'll show you how I make fondant potatoes. Okay, fondant potatoes. Now I have 3 people for dinner tonight, so I have 3 potatoes, which actually might be even a little bit too much. And I looked to find 3 potatoes that were very close to the same size. Long, thin potatoes would have probably done better, but this is what we have. We don't generally buy special things like that. But each of these potatoes is going to be trimmed. Now, I'm not going to trim them like you might get them in a fancy restaurant. Because I just don't want to waste that much potato. And when I go back and do research, I find that originally they were not necessarily trimmed to be very small or in nice little circles. But a lot of people do that, and if you want that fancy look for a very special meal, you're welcome to do it. I'm going to show you the way I do it so that I don't waste quite so much potato. And I hope my knife's sharp. I just sharpened it. So you're going to cut the ends off because we want them to stand up. And then as I peel, and I'm peeling with a knife on purpose because I want to shape them as I go. I want to get kind of a barrel shape. I know if you're in a cooking school and they're teaching you fondant potatoes, they're going to weigh and measure the size for each potato. We're not going to do that. We're going to save as much of the potato as we can and still get the shape, because the shape is important, because our goal here is to make a crispy potato on the outside but a soft and melty potato on the inside. So you want to cut them in a way that you can brown them nicely and then put them in the oven and have them soak up the chicken broth we're going to put them in. So you want them to be fairly uniform. So I'm going to trim these so that they've got 2 flat sides. And they're kind of barrel shaped. Cut that little bad spot off. And as you're trimming, you want the edges of your flat side to be beveled just a little bit. And that's to make them brown more nice. nicely. Okay, that's close. I'm going to cut this in half. And that's our two. We're going to, let me trim it just a little bit more. Kind of smooth it out a little bit. Okay, got a bowl of water over here. Okay, let's do one more for you. You need to use a fairly firm potato with this. What I have here are russets, but red Pontiacs are good. They're a nice firm potato. Not exact. Close. Okay, I'll cut the other one, and then we'll come back at the stove. Okay, so I have here cast iron skillet and enough oil to make sure it doesn't stick. The potatoes don't stick. And I have our potatoes, and I'm letting the oil get pretty hot. And I'm gonna dry the potatoes, because potatoes are just like everything else. They don't brown well if they're wet. And on this potato, you'll see there's a smaller side. And I'm actually going to put the smaller side down first. And you'll see why as we go along, because you normally, when you're frying something or cooking something, you cook presentation side first. When I put these in the oven, they're going to go in like this. So I'm going to brown that side first. And it may pop and crackle here. Not too much. It's sizzling pretty well though. So drain it well. Of course, if you make these in little cylinders, you don't have to worry about which is the presentation side. Okay, as I often say, patience grasshopper. We're going to wait now until we get a nice brown bottom now, but it will be the top. And I'll be back. Okay, that's been about 4 minutes. I want to show you what we're looking for. I'm not quite ready to turn them. But you see we're getting that nice brown there. I'm going to let them go about 1 more minute. Okay, let's turn them over. We're going to give them about 5 minutes on that side, and then I'll be back. It's been about 5 minutes, and I'll show you the bottom. I'm not going to turn these again, but I want you to see that we've browned the bottom. Now, I need to get rid of some of this oil, and you can do it any way you want to. If you want to take them out before you pour, you can do that. I think the directions actually say use a paper towel to soak it up, but I'm not going to do that. It's hot. So I'm going to pour off most of this oil. And I'm going to replace it with butter, butter, butter. I'm going to put all together about a stick of butter. What would be a stick? I'm using some Irish butter. Comes in half pounds. Turn the heat down just a little bit. And yes, we replaced one oil with another, but they don't crisp as well in butter. And they don't taste as good in oil. So, just sprinkle some salt now. That was probably about a teaspoonful. just a little touch of red pepper flakes, not much. And I actually use red pepper flakes instead of black pepper. You probably want to use black pepper. And then I have thyme. And I wish I had fresh thyme. And the recipe generally calls for fresh thyme, but I don't have any fresh thyme, so I have some nice dried thyme. And I'm going to sprinkle that in pretty liberally. If you have some fresh thyme, you can just put it down in there, and then you can, on the little stems, and I'm starting to get that wonderful smell. Now I have a hen baking in the oven, and I have 36 more minutes on that hen. My goal here is to put this in at 30 minutes, when the hen needs 30 more minutes, approximately. So they'll get done at about the same time. So I have here some of my home canned turkey bone broth. And I'm going to add about halfway up the potatoes. That was about a cup. And that's all the ingredients you have on this dish. I'm going to put this in the oven uncovered. I have my oven on 350. And in about 30 minutes, we're going to see what we've got. Potatoes fondant. And they smell wonderful. And the way you test these to make sure they're done is a fork. If it goes in cleanly and easily, then it's done. They are so soft on the inside. I'm going to plate this up and show you what we got. Let's get we want to get a little of the butter and thyme. Drizzle it over. I'm ready to eat. Okay, isn't that pretty? Now you know I have to have a bite, and I want to show you the inside. The top is crunchy. You cut down through, and this is soft and melty inside because it has soaked up the chicken broth and the butter and the thyme. Almost won't stay on the fork. It's pretty hot. Hold on. Sorry, got my mouth full again. Potatoes fondant. You gotta try these. This is a great side dish. Inexpensive, not quick, but worth it. And really lends a touch of elegance to whatever you're having. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you for joining us on Debbie's Back Porch. Hope to see you again tomorrow.